Welcome back to episode 2 of Healing is a Messy Bitch. I'm Amy Wilhelmy, and this is So You're Thinking About Ketamine Assisted Therapy. Let's talk about it. Have you ever felt like you've tried everything? Talk therapy, EMDR, meds, inner child work, psychic readings, screaming into pillows, screaming into the void, and you're still stuck. Same. And that's why I want to talk to you about something that's helped a lot of people that I work with finally shift the stuff that's been lodged into their nervous system for years. Ketamine assisted psychotherapy, or CAP. We really like acronyms in the therapy world, so you'll also hear me refer to it as CAP. Now, before you roll your eyes, no, this isn't about getting high and calling it healing. It's clinical, it's evidence based, it's a backed process. And no, it's not magic, but it might just move the needle when nothing else can. So, what is CAP really? Ketamine assisted psychotherapy is a healing modality that combines low dose ketamine with psychotherapy because the medicine alone isn't enough. The real change happens in the therapy. It's how we help your brain and body make sense of what comes up when the usual defense mechanisms take a seat. Ketamine is a legal, FDA approved, used in safe, structured doses. It shifts your consciousness just enough to unhook from what we call default mode of maybe fear, shame, reactivity, numbness. This isn't a tuning out, it's a tune in. So, how it actually works with me, plus my med partner, Journey Clinical. So, the med partner, Journey Clinical, makes this all possible. They invite you to a medication consult where you meet with one of our medical providers and they do kind of a full medical run through, make sure that you qualify for ketamine, and then they will approve it, let me know that you're approved, and then ship it to your home. And then what happens in the meantime is that you and I start what we call ketamine prep sessions. So we start with a session that's all about getting to know you and your needs, building safety, setting intentions, and getting clear about why we're doing this. Not just, I want to feel better, but what is inside you that wants to be healed, heard, or held differently. This is where we build the container, because the deeper we go, the more you need kind of that steady hand alongside of you. So when we feel the container is very built and we've had usually 1 to 3 prep sessions, then we might be ready for dosing. And in a dosing session, you need to have a chaperone drive you to and from the office if you're coming to the office, or if you are at home seeing me virtually for your dosing sessions, you will need a chaperone at home as well to monitor you and that I can have as an emergency contact if anything goes on and I need to get a hold of somebody. So in a dosing session, this is where you take the medicine, either with me or virtually, depending on your needs, depending on how far away we are. And so you will take your ketamine, which is a sublingual lozenge from Journey Clinical, and I will be with you the entire time. I'm there guiding, I'm there witnessing, I'm supportive, but I'm not overbearing. So in the session, we will again discuss your intentions for the session. We will know what those are because we've already completed prep, but we will go over them again. We will also check vitals. So we check heart rate, check blood pressure, make sure that the vitals are correct. We give you a little break so that you can use the restroom. And then we start the dosing. So you hold the lozenge under your tongue for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you spit the lozenge out when you're done. Clients are also given a booster dose. So you have the availability to do the process over that 10 or 15 minutes, take that booster dose, and then spit it out when you're done. Then clients are able to kind of have a taste break and do a piece of hard candy or gum to kind of get that taste of the lozenge out of your mouth. And then you're ready for going into that deep internal dosing. So when you're in the dosing, it's usually about an hour or so lucid. You put on headphones, and I have a ketamine playlist that you enjoy as you go through the dosing session. At about an hour or more, we start to bring you out of the dosing session, or folks do kind of naturally come out of it. And then we will do a little bit of on-site integration. What happened? What did you experience? Any changes that you may have found? But the integration is where we help your brain kind of do its thing. Ketamine increases what we call neuroplasticity, your brain's ability to form new connections. And this happens up to 7 days after a dosing session. So right after dosing, we'll do a short integration while you're still a little floaty. And then a few days later, we'll meet again for kind of more deeper insight stuff. So what came up for you? What shifted? And what now feels possible? And this is where those insights from your session actually become changes in your relationships, changes in your thinking, changes in your body and your nervous system and how it feels in your body. So let me tell you a real world client story about my client named Jordan. Obviously, the names were changed to tell you this story, but Jordan had been in therapy for 5 years. They could name their trauma, they could name their triggers, they had all the language, but the real emotions, the real ability to tap into those was still very locked. We would get there, we would approach the trauma, and then Jordan was unable to kind of peel that onion and get there. In their first CAP session, they described feeling like they just kind of floated on the outside of themselves, watching part of themselves that they usually kind of shoved down. A younger self who really never felt safe. They didn't relive their trauma. They actually connected to something that they lost. And in integration, they finally said the thing that has been trapped in their body for years. They said, I didn't deserve what happened to me, and I don't have to keep punishing myself for it. The moment that was a new neural pathway forming, a new truth landing. And that is neuroplasticity and the beauty of that. So people always ask me, what does it actually feel like? So it's different for everybody. Sometimes people will say they feel like they're floating in a warm bath, or like they're watching a movie of their life with curiosity, not judgment. Some people meet their inner critic and say, you know what, this is not for me anymore. This is a coping mechanism that I used to use in the past, but this does not work for me anymore. Other people cry. Some people laugh. Some people just lie in silence and feel peace. And it's not always pretty, but it's honest, it's sacred, and it's real. And the beauty of working with a ketamine assisted psychotherapy provider is that you're never alone. You're not alone in it. We've built up enough relationship in those pre-dosing sessions, in the prep work, where you don't feel alone, you feel safe. Why does this integration window matter? So I mentioned those 7 days of neuroplasticity, and here's something that most people don't know. That neuroplastic window I mentioned, it is gold. Your brain is literally opening up to new possibilities, to new patterns, to new truths a week after dosing. So we don't just let that pass. We use it. We meet again during that window and we ask, what shifted? What stood out to you? What patterns have you noticed kind of start to unravel? And we anchor those insights so they're not just felt, but they are lived. And this is where healing moves from the medicine into your real, beautiful, messy life. So, is CAP for you? It isn't for everyone. It isn't for folks in crisis or acute psychosis. It's not a band aid or a bypass, and it sure as hell is not a quick fix. But if you're ready to go deeper, if you've done a lot of work and you still feel stuck, if your body holds it and you can feel it and it holds more truth than your words can express, then maybe this is your next step. You'll still do hard stuff in this work: feelings, boundaries, nervous system regulation. But CAP might give you the access point that you've been missing. And in a world that tells you that healing should be tidy, it should be Instagrammable, let me remind you that healing is a messy bitch. And you're showing up anyway. You're showing up as a parent. Maybe you're showing up as a spouse. Maybe you're showing up as a friend, as a worker. You're showing up. And this can just help you get to a more integrated level. And this is what matters. And this is what heals. So if you're interested in starting your own CAP journey, you can read more on my website, www.amywilhelmy.com/KAP. And I partner with Journey Clinical and I handle the med side. I'll be your therapist. I'll guide and co-navigate your actual experience. And if your gut is maybe whispering, maybe this is it, my advice would be listen to it, because we're just getting started here. Thank you. Amy Wilhelmy, Healing is a Messy Bitch.